Welcome back for another video. There's been another 50 friendlies since the last pre-season video, so in this video we'll be taking a look at the players who are in form and other news including budget players that have impressed, tactics used and more. It's important to pay attention to pre-season because there's so much you can miss which can have a bearing on your team selection. So to make it easy for you, I've compiled everything into a short video of everything you need to know. There's plenty of content to come here every week to help you hit your rank target and win all your mini leagues. Hit subscribe for more to come. Starting with Arsenal, whose form has continued and everything points towards them starting the season strongly. José was on the target again versus Chelsea in a surprising 4-0 win. That's 6 attacking returns for José in about 190 minutes, or a return every 31 minutes. Arsenal's lineup versus Chelsea won't be far off their Gameweek 1 lineup. Tomiyasu's still out, so White played in right back and Saliba played in right centre back. Tini also out, so Zinchenko made his debut against Chelsea after joining up with the team for pre-season. He had a good debut and linked up well. I expect him to start in left back come Gameweek 1 versus Palace. Nketiah has also looked very hungry and he'll be used lots this season, likely alongside Jesus in games where they struggle to break opponents down. Smith Rowe hasn't played a minute since Nuremberg weeks ago, so Martinelli looks a lock for Gameweek 1 as well. Aston Villa have now kept 3 clean sheets in their 4 games, Man United the only team to score against them. Bailey's been the standout in pre-season with 2 goals and 2 assists and only 5 mil. The most recent game against Man United is the one I want to highlight here. Bailey started this one on the bench with Gerrard lining up with both Ings and Watkins up top. 2-0 down at half time, he brought on Bailey who transformed the game with 1 goal and 1 assist to level it. Post-match Gerrard said, quote, "If I had to pick a team for the real thing tomorrow, Leon Bailey's starting in my team." With that in mind, it's becoming increasingly difficult to overlook him. He's a perfect budget mid to allow you to spend elsewhere and still clearly has potential to get something himself. Bournemouth's last match was a 1-0 loss to Bristol City. The only player worth highlighting in pre-season so far is 6-mil Solanke who has 2 goals. The 24-year-old was Bournemouth's main man last season in the Championship, scoring 29 goals and 7 assists, and they'll be counting on him in their hopes of staying up. Bournemouth have some of the worst opening fixtures, so he could be one to pick up a few game weeks down the line. Not much to report from Brentford. Lewis Potter scored on his debut against Strasbourg. Visser has also impressed with 1 goal and 1 assist, but he and Lewis Potter could share minutes this season, and neither currently look nailed unfortunately. Mbeumo scored 2 goals, one of which was a penalty, which would have otherwise been taken by Tony had he been on the field. New goalkeeper Sane Strakosha is yet to make his debut. Brighton have now played 3 friendlies. In the Reading game, Potter lined up with Welbeck up top, Mopai and Undev named on the bench, who both came on in the 71st minute. For now, Undev unfortunately looks like an avoid, but one to monitor in the final friendlies and opening game weeks. Chelsea lined up with a back 4 against Arsenal, and by half time Arsenal put 2 past them. Emerson started that game in left back, replaced by Alonso in the second half, Chilwell an unused substitute. James has looked the sharper between the two so far in pre-season. The James and Chilwell double-up could be overkill from Gameweek 1. There seems to be a lot going on behind the scenes at Chelsea. Ziyech wants to move to AC Milan, Alonso and Azpilicueta want to go to Barca, and Werner and Pulisic want to leave for regular first-team football reportedly. That said, Chelsea is certainly not done in the transfer market, so we'll see how the rest of the window plays out. Crystal Palace have been very busy in pre-season. Vieira split the squad up into 2 groups, so while some of them were playing in Australia, the other half were in England. Zaha's been on fire. In the last update he had 1 assist from the opening few played and now has 4 goals and 3 assists. All the strikers have chipped in with goals, Benteke, Edouard, Mateta and Plange. It's clear there will be lots of value in Palace this season, but unfortunately they start the season with poor fixtures, but at least gives us time to assess. Perhaps even a few price drops by the time the fixtures turn around Game Week 5. It's not been a good pre-season for Everton. They followed up the Arsenal defeat with a 4-0 defeat to Minnesota United. It is midway through the MLS season, so the American teams are arguably fresher, but a poor result nonetheless. Patterson has been one of the few highlights. The 20-year-old's been playing at right back with Coleman currently sidelined. He has done well with 2 assists so far. Mitrovic has continued his fine form from last season with 3 goals and an assist in pre-season. Fulham opened the season hosting Liverpool, which is an off-putting fixture to consider the Serbian for. However, Pereira's been eye-catching as one for our benches. In the 2 games he's played, he has 2 assists and both are from corner kicks. Fulham evidently have been working on set pieces, and the 4.5 mil midfielder taking corner kicks is fantastic value. Melli has been impressive in pre-season. Harrison has the most minutes played but no returns yet. Both new signings Aronson and Sinistera have been involved but no returns from either yet. Firpo got 1 goal and 1 assist but is now injured until September. 7.5 mil Bamford's back from the injury that ruled him out at the end of last season too, and he has featured in 3 games but no returns either. Leicester have been absolutely flying in pre-season but only 1 clean sheet from 5 played. Last season they left a lot to be desired in defence, which is a trend that may continue. No shortage of goals though, and Daka is now on 3 goals and 1 assist, though he could find himself on the bench for Vardy in Gameweek 1, who has 2 goals himself. 5 mil Dewsbury Hall is at the same price as Bailey, and he has a goal and 3 assists. Bailey looks the better pick and a more attacking role, but if Dewsbury Hall starts better, then there's at least one option to move sideways to. Barnes and Maddison have both been performing and heavily overlooked in most drafts. Among the A-mil mids, you probably have to put Diaz, Saka and probably Mount just ahead of him, but there's not much in it. Barnes at 7 mil is a tempting one too. He's quite a hit and miss player though, and one of those that you have to catch at the right time. On to Liverpool, and after a difficult debut by Nunez, he had an absolute blinder against RB Leipzig, putting 4 of Liverpool's 5 goals past them. 1 goal was a penalty, which Salah gave to Nunez as a confidence booster in all likelihood, and to get the goals flowing for the new signing. Diaz the player was the one who won the penalty. Despite an impressive game, he hasn't played himself into my team. Right now I'd put all 4 of Salah, Trent, Robertson and Diaz ahead of him. Salah was the other player on the score sheet against Leipzig, and Trent's been quietly ticking along with 2 assists in pre-season as well. Man City have played a couple of pre-season games now, the first a 2-1 win against Club America, De Bruyne the scorer of both goals. Haaland was an unused substitute first game. Pep said he had niggles and they didn't want to take any risks. 12 minutes into his debut against Bayern Munich he scored, assisted by Grealish. Haaland has a poor injury record, so it's a tough one between him and Kane to start the season. Grealish could be an under-the-radar pick. Foden didn't travel for pre-season, so Grealish is likely to start in Gameweek 1 and only 7 mil. This was how they lined up against Bayern. Swap Walker in for Wilson Esbrand, and this is very close to the expected Gameweek 1 lineup, if not exact. Man United continue to impress, and in my eyes there's so much value in their assets this season. Martial and Sancho both had 3 goals in pre-season, and Rashford has 2. They've still got another 2 games to play, and yet in last year's pre-season no player had more than 2 goal contributions throughout, which was Elanga's 2 goals and Shortire's 2 assists. Ronaldo's uncertain future lingers over Martial in particular, however he's still not back yet and they'll almost certainly line up with a front 3 of Rashford, Martial and Sancho for Gameweek 1. Dalot's also impressed, and he's only 4.5 mil and he's been very attacking. He's hit the post and has an assist so far. We'll skip Newcastle, who haven't played a game in the last 8 days and nothing to highlight as of now. No informed players to highlight for Nottingham Forest. 4.5 mil forward Taylor scored twice in their last game, but he's in the same boat as the other 4.5 mil forwards, such as Greenwood, Archer and Plange, in that he's not expected to get any starts. Nico Williams has started in all 3 friendlies since signing for Forest, and he remains the best 4 mil defender in the game. Lingard comes in at 6 mil, and having only just signed is yet to play in a pre-season game. Southampton's pre-season began last week with a 3-1 loss to RB Leipzig. 2 goalless draws since. McCarthy and new signing Bazanu have played 1.5 games each so far. Ward-Prowse has only featured in 1 game, which was against Watford in the last one, where he played 64 minutes. 5 mil midfielder Stuart Armstrong played out of position as a striker, and when asked about this, Hasenhüttl said, "As a striker he has more freedom for what he wants to do. I think this is good for his game. He was driving with the ball, and it's not so dangerous when he loses it because you have enough players to defend. I like this position for him." Based on Hasenhüttl's comments, definitely one to keep an eye on, but they do have Adams, the other Armstrong, and also other players who can play in striker as well. On to Spurs, and both Son and Kane have been excelling in pre-season, with the 2 of them involved in almost every goal. Kane scored 5 times in 3 games with 1 assist. In fact, the 3 goals from the Rangers game and the Sevilla games were all Kane goals with a Son assist. It's becoming increasingly tempting to consider Kane over Haaland for the same price. Perisic made his debut in the last match against Rangers off the bench, and he was very lively. He did well to take his man on a couple of times and put in a terrific cross into a dangerous area. Spurs have 1 more game against Roma and former manager Mourinho on the 30th of July, which in all likelihood will be their first choice 11. All eyes on whether Perisic makes the 11 or not. West Ham have been very busy with 6 games played now, however no standouts, 7 different goal scorers across the 6 games. Souček scored twice, Benrahma once and Bournemouth with an assist. The Hammers kicked the season off against Man City, so they're a side not in many managers' thinking. Bowen the most owned with 8.7% ownership. 8.5 mil is an awkward price point, and the City fixture is an awkward one too, as immediately after they've got 3 great looking games against Nottingham Forest, Brighton and Villa. New centre-back signing Aguerd is set for a spell on the sidelines after undergoing ankle surgery. Lastly, Wolves, and both Neto and Podence have been eye-catching. I expect Wolves to improve this season, and they've got the right opening fixtures to start well. Neto's the template 5.5 mil midfielder, while Podence is very overlooked at the moment. He's very technically gifted and he passes the eye test. If he can remain fit, he can even play in striker. In fact, in the Besiktas game, Jimenez was withdrawn as a precaution and Podence played as a forward for the rest of the game. That wraps up the pre-season update. There'll be one final update to come before Gameweek 1, so hit subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll read all your comments, so drop one below. See you soon for the next one.